Picard. Southpaw stance, has that right leg in front. You like to see her maybe step around a little bit and actually go into that punch. Step aside a little bit and come with that left. She's got the reach, she's got the height. Use it to your advantage. There's a good hook right there. That's scored by Picard. Oh, another exchange by Pereira and a stung. She got caught on that one, pushed her back a little bit. Another good hook by Pereira. Quality of punches right now in favor of Pereira. Picard came in at 121 and Judy came in at 118, thus super bantamweights. Late stages, round number 3, another good right by Pereira that scores. She comes back with a straight right of her own, try to close out round number 3 in style. Final 10. Good exchange, good flurry by both ladies. And a good left to clean things up by Louise Picard. 3 in the books. Spirited contest thus far, highly contested contest. Very tough to score. Again, judging is at times subjective, objective. I could have gave that first round to Judy. The second round, I think I gave to Judy. The third round, you could have easily scored it for Eloise Picard. And if that's the case right now, she's going to have to do something to win this round and perhaps try to get a draw in her pro debut. I don't think either fighter has really dominated thus far, but we've seen some moments here and there. As Picard's corner is giving her instructions, telling her to breathe a little bit as we take a look at Judy Pereira's corner. 3 in the books, slated for 4, fourth and final round. Again, Picard, taller, lankier, red tapered trunks. Judy Pereira, diminutive fighter in the black trunks, but doing some damage. Oh, Picard caught her with a counter left that scored. Good exchange. Now it's Judy coming back with a counter right of her own. Wild right. Not a lot of damage. Good straight right that scores. Well, Picard seems to be walking into those punches at times, and Pereira is obliging by connecting. You mentioned the pro debut for both young ladies. And for Louise Picard, she, down the road, and we wish her congratulations, by the way, because she just got engaged to her boyfriend, now her fiance. She was 5-2 as an Emmy as a boxer. And I said, took 9 years to become a pro, so really tried to hone her skills in her respective sports. Hopefully down the road, she's looking to own her own management company and gym. Good left by Picard that scores. That was a good straight left. Might have been her best punch of the evening. Late stages, round number 4, fourth and final round. Good exchange by both fighters. Pereira again with a right, then comes back with a chopping left. Pereira pressing the issue once again. Late stage into this one. Looks like it might go to the scorecards. Under 10. See if they finish with a flurry. Here at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada. Good action by Picard and Pereira to close things out. So history has been made. The first bout on the first all-pro female card. Love the sportsmanship both these fighters embrace. This one is going to go to the scorecards. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll have the decision between Picard and Pereira. Thought it was a straight body punch. West snaps that jab. West, as I alluded to, 16-1. Current IFBA Super Bantamweight champ. An auspicious start to round number 1 for Olivia. Slated for 8. we mentioned a lot of fights that Olivia Gorilla has been in. 35 years of age. 4 weeks to prepare for this fight. Former WBC featherweight champ. She went downstairs right there. Connected against West. West is a very good defensive fighter. Her father, Juan West, is her boxing trainer manager. Kalisha West won a title on Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy card. First female to headline on Sugar Shane Mosley promotion. So both these two have great boxing background, boxing pedigree. They have just solid records, and they've fought for titles, and they've won titles. So very interesting round number 1 plays in the favor of Kalisha West, who scores that knockdown, make it a 10-8 round if it sticks. And it does. So a 10-8 round. 5 seconds into this one, Gorilla goes down, and you wonder if Olivia, you can see she's pretty animated. Her hands are up in the air. She's frustrated. Bottom line is you got to fight through it. It is what it is. They ruled it a knockdown. So be it. We'll see how she recovers. As I mentioned, she fought several times, lost to Frida Wahlberg for the WBC female super featherweight title. She also fought one of the all-time greats, Maureen Shea, fought Sandy Sagaris for the Canadian super featherweight title, lost that in a majority decision, drew a draw against Mia St. John. Listen, she has fought everyone. That's why you love her as a fighter. She does not sidestep anyone at all. She fights who they put in front of her. She told me, hey, Rich, I took this fight on 4 weeks. I'm ready to go. Now, Kalisha West came in very good shape. I saw her the other day in the hotel at the fitness center. She was trying to sweat off the last couple pounds. It was mostly water weight. She knew she was going to come in perfect. She came in at 126. Also, you got to look at the age. 11 years, I should say 9 years younger than her opponent. So we'll see how it plays out in round number 2. See if Olivia comes out guns blazing against Kalisha after that first round knockdown that has the score right now, 10-8 in favor of the wild one. Oh, good exchange. Again, another left by Kalisha West. Good hook. That stung Olivia. West does not mind if you come in a little bit. As I alluded to, she's a good counterpuncher. She sets everything off that jab we just saw right there. She just peppered that left jab. Chess match going on, round number 2. Slated for 8. Gorilla and West. St. Germain breaks them apart. They meet back in the center of the ring. Good combination. Another sweeping left by West. That scores. They'll get tied up again. So Olivia trying to press the action in round number 2. See if she can take this round, get back in this one. They have about 10 rounds. Still very early. Slated for 8. Championship rounds, if it goes that far. 6th, 7th, and 8th rounds. Close out a great night of boxing. The Crown Plaza Hotel in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada. Well, this one might not be pleasing on the eyes. It seems early on that Olivia is going to try to tie up Kalisha West. And again, you wonder if the 4 weeks training had anything to do. West hasn't fought in a year, but she constantly and consistently trains. I'm not saying that Olivia doesn't, but 4 weeks to prepare, short notice, an adjustment period. Good body shots by West. Good action to close in on 2 in the books. Steve St. Germain just warns both fighters, keep the shots and the gloves up a little higher. Kalisha West, 16-1 and 3-4 knockouts, has not fought in 2 years. She had those tough losses. Started her career winning 10 in a row until she dropped an 8-round unanimous decision bout to Ava Knight for the IFBA North American Bantamweight title. She actually came back, fought Knight again in 2011. That was a controversial draw. If she would have won that one, she would have defended her WBO Bantamweight title 4 times. As we alluded to, she's the current IFBA Super Bantamweight champ because of her win her dominating win against Christina Cruz. That was the last time she fought up until tonight. We take a look at Olivia Gorilla's corner. Top-ranked lightweight in Canada, number 8 in the world. She's fought everyone. Also fought Hamilton, Ontario native Jessica Rozaski, who was 33-3 in her career. Heck of a fighter out of Canada in her own right. Early stages round number 3. West in the black. Gorilla in the red colors. Canadian colors, if you will. Good combination by West. They'll both let their hands go a little bit in round number 3. A little more spirited action here. Some body work being done respectively by both fighters. Olivia's trying to get inside a little bit, work the body. That'll negate that jab. Good right, that scores. West with a counter of her own. The problem is she keeps walking into these punches, and Kalisha West is scoring. Have her 2 rounds in, 2 in the books. 20-17 right now. 10-8, 10-9 respectively. Slated for 8. Good straight right by Olivia. She might be content making just an ugly, ugly fight, a brawl. Maybe take Kalisha West out of her comfort zone. Veteran fighters have a way to be crafty. They'll take it to the line. They might not cross the line, but they'll take it to the line. That right almost landed. Good body shots by Olivia. Now it's Kalisha West backing her back up in the center of the ring. Crowd is at just very silent right now, waiting for something to happen. Some fireworks, if you will. Round number 3. Little extracurricular activities by the veteran. Right now, a veteran Canadian fighter who's the top-ranked lightweight in Canada, number 8 in the world, Olivia Gorilla, who 3 rounds in the books, you can score it 3 rounds in the hole. See if that championship form comes into play. Round number 4, slated for 8. West in the black, Olivia in the red. West has been able to just utilize that jab and really stabilize Olivia when she's tried to get inside. And what Olivia has been doing to negate that jab from West is just when she gets inside to no prevail, she just ties her up. She was able to fight through that guard. Oh, good right by Olivia. That scores. Excellent right. Might have been her best punch of the night. Now she's going to the body, working the issue a little bit, pressing the action in round number 4. She understands she's down on the scorecards. Has West backing up a little bit. Slight welt now under that, right eye. Pardon me, right eye of Kalisha West. That's from those jabs that Olivia's been sticking through. They haven't been consistent, but they've been doing just enough damage to make Kalisha think. You hear Olivia's corner telling her, back her up, back her up. Good right, good combination again. Stuck that jab in there. Another right by Olivia, that scores on the counter. Good combination by West, though. She's got Kalisha West now backing up in round number 4. Making her think a little bit. Good right, straight right by West. Olivia comes back with a counter right of her own. Tries to stick it through the guard. Late stages, round number 4. Again, all around 2 minutes. Female boxing. All bouts this evening have been sanctioned by the Quebec Commission. Closing in on 4 of the books. Oh, good right by Olivia to close out. Another right. Stung West. Good body shots. Good flurry late in the round, and then one for extracurricular activity. And afterwards, she just pushes away the referee, Steve St. Germain. Get out of here. I'm a former champ. 4 4 in the books as we get slated for 5 rounds. I don't know if Olivia was a little more fired up, a little more animated in round number 4, but she had some good moments on that one. I would give her round number 4, not on that last 10-second or 30-second flurry. The fact ring generalship stayed away from Kalicia's jabs a little bit. If you want to be generous, fair, I think she earned that round. I'd like to see, again, how they score it afterwards, but I certainly gave her round number 4. So if you look at that first knockdown 10-8, and you give round number 4 for Olivia, she's still in the hole, folks. Unofficially, I have this one 39-36 in favor of Kalicia West. 10-8 round 1, 10-9 round number 2 and 3 respectively. And some good moments for Olivia in round number 4. Opening stages, round number 5. Olivia in the red, West in the black. Both these fighters come in with close to 30 wins combined. Right on 30. 14 for Olivia, 16 for West. The only loss West suffered in his career was against the very outspoken, opinionated Ava Knight. One thing about Kalicia West, motivational speaker, believes in equal opportunity boxing for men and women, advocate for women's boxing. And by the way, when she won the WBO title in 2010 versus Angel Gladney, that was the first world boxing champ from the Inland Empire, men and women, which is Southern California. Olivia having a good opening stage of round number 5, can get back in this one. Good combination, right then to left, has West backing up a little bit. West not as aggressive as we saw early on. Maybe that first round knockdown shook her a little bit, saying, oh, is it going to be this easy? She's backed off the last couple rounds. Oh, getting a little feisty and dicey. Good right again, straight right by Livy, that scores. West comes with a counter body shot of her own. Good uppercut by Livia. Doing some damage now, left, then a good uppercut. Scores again, excellent round number 5. Late stages, slated for 8. Gorilla and West. Olivia thought maybe there was an accidental clash of heads. West tags her with a right. Off the counter and another right by West. Another left. That's a slip. Got to wipe down the gloves. Finish off the round. As they smack gloves. 5 in the books. Well, things are getting a little dicey now. Things are getting a little dicey now. 5 in the books. You can make an argument. You can make an argument right now, folks, that this fight, it's up for grabs, obviously. It's a 48-46. This is unofficial scoring ringside. So I'm scoring it. I'm calling it. You guys might not agree. If you don't, no problem. You can tweet me, Rich Q on Q. I have this right now unofficially 48-46 for West. I actually gave Olivia round number 4 and round number 5. And I'm starting to see a little now that Kalicia West, I'm not saying she's unsure of herself, but she's not as fluent as she was moving around. Olivia now more of the stalker, and West the prey. And you have a fighter in Olivia Gorilla, a championship boxer who knows how to close out fights. She's been there before, as has West. A little different now, fighting in someone's backyard. Got to keep your composure. Number 6, slated for 8. West in the black and gold, Olivia in the red. Our main event, Nordic Coliseum Women's Boxing, all-pro female affair. Good right by Olivia, straight right that scores. Olivia's been content when they get in that clinch like that, she'll throw in a couple extra punches just for good measure, but she's trying to work the body. And she's kind of crafty. Oh, good right and then a left. She's actually doing it a way where the referee cannot see. It's not visible. His view's obstructed, so she can get in that left. She can sneak in those punches. Good counter right by Olivia. That scores. West trying to make something happen in round number 6. Good right again by Olivia. Good overhand right by Kalisha West. Good right by Olivia. Pushing her back a little bit, trying to go for that body shot, manhandling her. Midway through round number 6, slated for 8. Another right over the top. That scores. St. Germain will break them apart. West now trying to fight forward. Good body shot. That's how you slow down your opponent. Just keep working the body. Good uppercut by Olivia. Good counter. Good exchange. Round number 6 by both fighters. Action starting to heat up. Might not be a belt on line, but they're giving championship effort. Good left by Olivia. She fights forward. I'm telling you right now, folks, good combination by West to close it out. Another round in the books, and I have to tell you, unofficially, that's another round for Olivia. And guess what? We've got ourselves a fight right now. 6 rounds in the books. We've got a fight. And after that early knockdown suffered by Olivia in round number 1, I have this fight a draw. I have this fight a draw right now. 56-56 through 6 rounds. And I'm looking over at Kalisha West. Her mouth is open a little bit. She's breathing a little heavy. Her father, Juan, her trainer, her manager, giving her instructions. Looks like he's telling her, look, move around a little bit and really try to work that jab and keep your distance. As we take a look at Olivia, calm, poised. She is a 30-fight veteran. She's been there before. So even that, if you want to call it questionable knockdown in round number 1, she's been there before. Right now, I have this fight a dead draw, 56-56 going into round number 7. And here's the interesting thing. You got a fighter in their backyard. You have a fighter in their backyard. Kalisha West can't give up a round. She's going to have to earn this one. And Olivia can't depend on the fact that she's won titles, she has the name, and she's fighting in her backyard. They'll touch them up round number 7. Slated for 8. West. And Olivia Gorilla. One of the best that Canada's offered. See how it plays out in round number 7. See if Kalisha West goes back to that jab a little bit. Starts circular, moving around. Olivia now, that stalker, sticks that right in there. Kalisha West, we mentioned, first time fighting in close to 2 years. Last fight was when she won the belt against Cristina Ruiz. That was for the vacant IFBA Super Bantamweight title. She's the current champ. Good right again by Olivia. Good right again, that tagged. West with a counter right, a looping right. Olivia tries to go upstairs a little bit. Good body shot by Olivia. Late stages, round number 7, slated for 8. They're fighting in a phone booth right now. Olivia knows how to fight one way, forward. The fight has turned in this. In the 4th round, the fight totally turned. Olivia just decided to manhandle a little more, work the body, and kind of really just take Kalisha West out of her comfort zone. And it's worked. That's why I unofficially had this one a draw. Round number 7, tough to score. Tough to score round number 7. Good exchange, both fighters, as they close out 7 in the books. Olivia sticking that left. Oh, it's West counters. Oh, mercy, what a right that scored. See how it sways the judges. 7 in the books. We'll keep it right here. 8th and final round of our main event to cap off a great night of boxing here at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada. 7 in the books. tough round to score. We thought on paper this one was going to go to the scorecards. That's exactly the way it looks to be headed. Championship round, folks. 8th and final round. This is where you make your money. And both of these fighters have been in wars before. Olivia kind of like a smile to her corner, almost to say, I know what I'm doing. I've been here before. She's nodding her head, not breathing heavy at all. I give her a ton of, took the fight on 4 weeks notice, which really tells you a lot going against a fighter of West's stature and caliber. 8th and final round, they will touch him up. Little showmanship there. No love lost. Girls having a lot of fun. Mutual respect. Now they come to war. They can hug afterwards. 8th and final round. West in the black. Gorilla in the red trunks. Olivia trying to work the body. This round, the way it is right now, could decide the fight. One of these fighters is going to have to do something here. They know this is a close, tight fight. And like I said, if it goes to the scorecards, you just want fair scoring. I don't know how you've scored it at home, round number 7. But to me, this fight, I can argue, is a draw right now. Or you can have either fighter ahead by 1 point. See how they end this one. Late stages, 8th and final round. Good right by Olivia. That scored. Another right that scores. West counters with a right of her own. Uppercut again by Olivia. Then another right by Olivia. Another right by Olivia. West counters with a right. Coming back. Good exchange. Both fighters. Another exchange. Who's wants it more? A lot of guts and a lot of heart in round number 8. 8th and final round. See what fighter closes it with a flurry. If it sways the judges, Olivia just misses with that right cross. Body shot. They'll get broken up. Good right again by Olivia. Now it's West with a counter. Final 10. See if they close with a flurry. West, Gorilla. Main event, cap off a great night. Good right again. Now it's West. Oh, mercy. Tag a right and then a left. And now it's Olivia with an uppercut. Both are still standing at the final bell. It'll go to the scorecards. Oh, my goodness mercy. Spirited fight between two great fighters. Great fight between the two to cap off a wonderful night of boxing here at the Crown Plaza. These two put on an absolute show. Well, the scoring to me, I would say leave it in the eye of the beholder, because it would not shock me if this fight was a draw. I can see this fight really being either way. Certainly not trying to get out of making a prediction. I'm not in the business of making predictions, but I think the scoring has been very accurate thus far this evening. The fight to me changed really in the 4th round. Olivia really started to dictate the fight, dictate the action, impose her will a little bit, and make things interesting by winning the 4th to 5th round. I had it a tie going into the 7th round. I didn't know how to score the 7th round, then the 8th round. Shame on me. I have absolutely no idea what the judges are going to see. If it's going to be ring generalship, quality of punches, consistency. Oh, goodness. We're going to come back with the decision right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames, mesdemoiselles, messieurs, we've been fortunate tonight, as I've said it quite a few times, but I'm going to say it one more time because they really deserve it. Let's give these two fighters a tremendous round of applause. All right, here we go. Juge de Carufel has it 76 to 75. Judge Roussel has it 78-74. Judge Woodburn, 78 to 73. For your winner, the Predator, Olivia Guerrera. Alors, mesdames et messieurs, le prochain combat est in the super featherweight division. Introducing the judges for this bout, Richard de Califel. The man inside the ring in charge of the hostilities, Mr. Junior Padulo. Introducing first in the blue corner, official weight 123 pounds, her professional record, 3 wins in 5 outings as a professional. She is the UBF All-American title holder from Brooklyn, New York, Jennifer Santiago. Son adversaire dans le coin rouge, her opponent in the red corner. She weighed in at a solid 125 pounds, wearing white, trimmed with red, black, and gold. Professional record, 2 wins in 5 outings as a professional from the nation's capital, Ottawa. Introducing Rosie and Time Bomb Ellis. Laughing with the referee, Junior Padulo.
Mesdames, you receive your instructions. Vous avez reçu les instructions. Protect yourself at all time. Right here is good. Right here is good. Good luck. Let's go.
Well, this one has the makings of a little bit of feistiness inside the ring. Thomas in the decorated trunks. Santiago in the solid black trunks. Slated for 4. Albert Padulo Jr., the referee in charge of the action. We are underway. If you blink, this one could end quick. Both these two have knockout power. Good left, counter left by Thomas. Santiago smiles, maybe says, you got me early on. Santiago, a very accomplished fighter, had 2 fights on reality TV in Mexico. Those were wins, didn't go in the books. Recently beat Peggy Mars in mid-January, 6-round unanimous decision. Ranked 5th best bantamweight in the U.S. Another one of our borough natives of New York, Nadia Feliciano from Brooklyn, holds that distinction of best bantamweight. She's a.k.a. the phenomenon, even though she was beat by Shelly Vincent and Heather Hardy. And right now, Thomas trying to do some damage against Santiago early on in round number 1. All the rounds, 2 minutes. Good right. Another body shot. Good body shots that connect by Santiago, pushing Thomas back up against the ropes. Santiago goes downstairs again, see if they get broken up. Thomas has that left hand and see if she's clinching it a little bit. So a little veteran move in the ring by the 37-year-old Thomas. Late stages, round number 1. Slated for 6, featherweight division. Santiago tried to sneak in a left. Padulo will break him apart. Good double up right by Santiago in the black trunks. Again, welcome everyone to a great night of boxing right here at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada, in conjunction with Nordic Coliseum Women's Boxing NCWB1. Follow me for Twitter updates, RichQ1Q, and follow them, NCWB, for updates as well. Like them on Facebook. Good round number 1, great exchange. Santiago might have suffered a cut from a headbutt. She's bleeding right now. She wiped away. That cut came from a headbutt. Now, you will watch Brian Cohen, one of the best in the business as far as taking care of cuts. He will try to work on that cut feverishly. The last thing you want is a bout to get stopped because of a cut. It's on the top of her head, which is not really an issue. We mentioned Shireen Thomas. When she fought Tyreesha Douglas, that was a loss. She was a $125. 2 weeks after, she got a call to fight Shelly Vincent. She dropped to 114, had to go back up to 125 to fight Jackie Trivigliani. And that was, she said, look, that was so bad that when I got off the stool, my trainer, my manager, my coaches said, you got to go for the knockout. And she said, look, I have no gas left, nothing in the tank. That's just an area of boxing. A lot of people don't understand these females, how they cut weight. And she said it was a dumb decision, and in hindsight, it hurt her. But 2 and 3, throw it out the window. She's better than that record. The main thing right now, one of the books, see how that cut, that does any more damage. If Thomas sees that cut, as you see the blood starting to pour right off the forehead, right where the braids are of Jen Santiago's right where her hair is pulled back. You just see the blood starting to come down. Great shot from the crew. Thomas working the issue in round number 2. She'll get pushed back. Blood starting to trickle down some more. Santiago, tough from New York. A lot of times you'll see blood either fire you up as a fighter if it's your cut, or it will get your opponent fired up. We'll see how it works. Santiago just keeping that right out, keeping it out, dangling out, keeping Thomas a little honest. Shireen Thomas is a good body puncher, and she's a very good counter puncher. She knows how to cut off the ropes. She's doing it right now. Santiago will get tied up again one more time. Padula will break him apart in another clash of heads. And a point deducted. Padula takes a point away from Shireen Thomas because Santiago suffered another headbutt, and the blood is really starting to come down now. Jen Santiago. Thomas now going in. Feistiness here. Santiago now fired up, showing a lot of cortisone, going downstairs again. Have to watch one more time if there's another accidental headbutt, because the referee, I give him a lot of credit. Warning the first time, point deduct the second time, third time might be a disqualification, so Shireen Thomas has to watch that. She just counters and tags Santiago. Now she's giving a little lip to Padulo. Doesn't like the fact that Santiago is holding on. We thought this could be the bout of the night on paper. It's turned out to be an entertaining one, and it's just exciting one. Both these two. Letting the leather go. Santiago tags Thomas. They'll get caught up in the clinch once again. Final 10. Be going to be very interesting to see how Santiago's corner works on that cut. The blood is just pouring down right now. Going to be interesting to see how they clean that cut up. Brian Cohen is going to have his work cut out for him. 2 of the books will keep it right here from the Crown Plaza. I don't know if you can argue round 2 went to Santiago. It's going to be very interesting to see midway through round number 3. Brian Cohen did a great job of cleaning up that cut. Santiago in the black trunks. Thomas in the decorated trunks. As the crowd's starting to will Shireen Rosie Thomas on. This is her backyard, but Thomas knows better. She's got to come out and fight. Midway through, slated for 6. So if anything, you really could score round number 2, a 9-9 round. Rich Quinones ringside, calling the action this evening. Good left and another right, pushes back Santiago. Santiago, little extracurricular activities. Thomas doesn't like it. Santiago not warned for the punches behind the head. Good left and another right by Santiago. Comes straight forward. Well, Albert Padulo is earning his money, the referee tonight, in charge of the action inside the ring. Was hoping for a cleaner break. I don't think Santiago liked the fact that he grabbed her arm a little bit. Not a break like a Steve Smoger in the States would do, but we'll see if he lets him fight out of it. Well, you don't want the referee to get too much involved this evening, but we already saw a couple accidental headbutts. Good commission here in Quebec. They have some of the best referees around. But this is turning into the story right now. Point deduction, cuts, the referee getting in between the dance. Between Santiago and Thomas. One more time. They'll push him away. Jennifer Santiago warning again, the headbutts, not liking it, going downstairs to the body. Oh, good left by Thomas on the counter. Sweeping hook. Santiago with an uppercut. That scored. Final 10. Santiago adamant that she keeps getting not only a clash of heads, head-butted, but she doesn't like the punches behind the head. We'll see if her corner says something to Padulo right now, as they're going to have to walk on that corner. They gave Padulo a little bit of verbiage. You can see Brian Cohen right now screaming over at the referee to watch the hits behind the head. 3 in the books between Santiago and Thomas. That round I would give to Thomas. That round I would give to Santiago. So this is unofficial scoring. You looked at that 10-9 round by Thomas. You look at the 9-9 round because of the cut. If I give Santiago that third round, right now, we have 29-27. Actually, pardon me. We have a 28-28 fight. Pardon me. We have a deadlock fight, 28-28. So 10-9 for Thomas, 9-9 round because of the point deduction, 9-10 for Santiago. Let's do the math together at home. And it turns out to be 28-28. Very interesting as we go into round number 4. Santiago in the black trunks. Thomas in the decorated trunks with the yellow trim. Santiago comes in with a perfect record of 3-0. We mentioned Thomas. Tough luck loser one fight, doing some damage right now. And now it's Santiago after the break with a little extracurricular activities. Thomas 2-3. We mentioned she lost to Shelly Vincent. Vincent is ranked number 6 in the world, number 2 in a stacked division. Alicia Ashley, Marcela Ilana Acuna, Jackie Nona, Selena Salazar. Top ranked Heather Hardy from New York, number 9 as well. And I believe a stacked division. Now the action's starting to pick up. Stacked featherweight division. Great fight. We thought on paper this could potentially be the fight of the night. Santiago trying to work the body a little bit, using leverage. Good uppercut by Santiago. Good combination again by Santiago. Santiago working the body midway through. Good combination again midway through round number 4. Jennifer Santiago showing a lot of guts, despite the fact that she's been repeatedly headbutted. Whether they're accidental or not, she suffered a serious cut, but she's fighting a good fight. Padula will break him apart again. Action starting to heat up. Crowd into this one. Electric and energized at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada. Thanks for tuning in. The first all-pro female card in North America history, living up to its billing. Crossover athletes stepping in the ring for the first time, but we have 2 veterans in the ring, and they are putting on a heck of a show. Could be the fight of the night. Final 10. Closing round number 4. Santiago with a flurry. Downstairs. Now Thomas comes back counters. Good straight right. Santiago eating a couple. Catches Thomas with a right. Closing in on for the books. Oh, mercy. Great action between these two. What guts and heart by Santiago. 4 in the books. Jennifer Santiago, 2 fights that aired on reality TV in Mexico. Both wins didn't go in the books as wins. She's 3-0. Great ranking by the UBF, as I mentioned. A heck of a fighter, native of New York. And a couple of her contemporaries, if you will. Nadia Feliciano from the Bronx as well, as we take a look at Shereen Thomas's corner. Not bloodied, not bruised. If you now look at Jennifer Santiago, the blood gushing from her forehead, you would think that she's been in a war. Those are because of headbutts. So here's the story. Thomas was warned by the referee of a headbutt in round number 1. She came back, got that point deducted because another headbutt really caused more of a gash to an existing cut in round number 2. We saw round number 3. I gave that round for Santiago. Round number 4, I'm going to give the edge to Santiago right now, which gives her a slight lead going into round number 5, slated for 6. Santiago in black. Thomas in the white with the yellow. Not sure if Thomas sustained a cut or if it's just from the blood of Santiago. But the story in this one has been cuts, point deductions, and the referee, Albert Padullo, who's stepping in a lot, not allowing these two to get too feisty after headbutts. The one thing I would love to see Santiago do is just try to sneak inside a little more and get to the body. I'd like to see her get, well, she just stuck in that jab right there. She caught one too. But on that combination, she's always coming back to the jab, which is a mark of a sound fighter. Thomas with a good right pushes Santiago back against the ropes. Good body shot, looking for that uppercut. Good counter left by Thomas that scored. Goodness mercy. Padula will again break him apart. Good left once again by Santiago. Not clean, not flush. That uppercut and that right, best punch of the evening for Thomas. Santiago working the body. Good uppercut by Santiago. Good left, misses with a right, goes downstairs again. Trying to soften up, tenderize the meat, so to speak. Spirited bout between these two. Good right by Santiago. Comes back with a counter. Final 10. Thomas with a straight right to try to close things out. See if they end in a flurry. 10 seconds to go. Thus far, the most entertaining bout of the evening because it's been aesthetically pleasing on the eyes. 5 in the books. This one, the judges have their work cut out for them because a lot of times you will have judges that will look at a cut, and because a fighter has a bad cut, they think they got the brunt end of it, and that's not necessarily the case, and it's not the case tonight. The cut, the gash that Jennifer Santiago absorbed was the result of several headbutts. The first, I believe, accidental. The second, we'll leave it up to the viewer. But the referee thought it was intentional by Shireen Thomas because he deducted a point. You can argue this fight is a draw right now because of that point deducted. I don't want to see this fight go to the scorecards and Jennifer Santiago lose this fight because of a cut that they deem was delivered mostly by punches, when we both know, again, it was because of a headbutt. Clash of heads. 6th and final round. Santiago and Thomas giving everyone here at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada, their money's worth. Maybe the fight of the night. It was slated for 6. It looks like it's going to go 6. The most active man in the ring. The referee tonight, Padulo, work cut out for him. Feistiness between these two. Thomas trying to press the issue in round number 6, pushes Santiago up against the ropes. Excellent fight, a war between these two. Two warriors, two great fighters in the ring. Now, Shireen Thomas has to watch. She does not want another point deducted. That can really turn the tide of the fight. See if she has to keep her composure here. Santiago going downstairs to the body, uppercut left and another right. Goes downstairs, working the body. Ambitious and driven. Trying to set up for that uppercut, see if she can get it. She can step around with that left, come with that counter left if she desires. She's not going to manhandle Thomas. Well, it was a matter of time before they got broken up as they engage again. I can see where Jennifer Santiago at times getting frustrated because Shireen Thomas leading in a little bit with the head. Leaning in too much with the head. Late stages, 6th and final round between Santiago and Thomas. Right now, it's just a fighter who wants it more. It's a backyard brawl. It's a street fight. See who's going to finish with a flurry. Try to steal this one. 10 seconds left. 6th and final round, Santiago and Thomas. Oh, good exchange by Thomas to close it out. Now Santiago delivers with a right of her own. And then Thomas an uppercut for good measure. Oh, great fight. My goodness. You know it's a great fight when I have blood not only on my notes, but on my computer, on my laptop, on my phone, and on my suit. Welcome to Boxing Canada. What a great fight between Thomas and Santiago. Going to be very, very tough to score. Very tough to score. Albert Padula, the referee, just looked down at me ringside and said, heck of a fight. Yeah, it was. It was indeed a heck of a fight. It might be the fight of the night. Jennifer Santiago as I like to say, unbelievable, mucho corazón. My goodness. Oh, my goodness. Está bien, hermano. Está bien. That was a spirited, entertaining fight, and Shireen Thomas came out with purpose. She let her hands go early on. She was going to have an opportunity to win it. I am very anxious to see how the judges score this one. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if this fight was a draw. I would not be shocked when it was all said and done if this fight was a draw, which you would feel for Shireen Thomas because of that point deduction. But don't let that cut above Jennifer Santiago's head fool you. She came to fight. She was gritty, gutsy. This was the reason that they put together tonight's card. This was the exact reason, because these female fighters need a venue, they need an outlet, they need networks, they need exposure, they need press, they need people to see what they do day in and day out. And tonight, the gloves were off, and they put on a heck of a show. Right now, going in to the 18th hole, the leaderboard, if you will, walking up the green, Thomas and Santiago, the fight of the night in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada. All right, let's make this one official, and I'll tell you, sometimes when it takes this long for the scoring to come in, I'm not going to say there's going to be controversy, but this one, it might turn out to be an interesting one. With that, we'll go inside the ring to our ring announcer. And as we get set to do that, I will also make my way into the ring as well. So again, we are just waiting. This one, we'll throw it inside the ring to Pierre Bernier.
Let's hear it again for these two warriors. Another tremendous action-packed 6-round bout. We go to the scorecard. Judge de Cadufel has it 59-54. Judge Guérin has it 57-56. And Judge Roussel, same scorecard, 57-56 for your winner. From Brooklyn, New York, Jennifer Santiago.
Welcome, boxing fans, to another edition of Boxing Around the Globe, exclusively on the Ringside Network, your ringside seat. I'm your host, Rich Quinones, and thanks so much for joining us. We are so happy to be able to be back in studio talking some boxing. We have a jam-packed show. Charisma McElwain will join us in a little bit. We'll get her thoughts on what's going on with female boxing, and I'm going to ask Charisma, are we going to finally get to see Wilder and Fury 3? That should be a great segment. Don't forget, too, later on in the program, our boxing expert, Alex Hamer, he's going to join us as him and I kind of go back and forth between rounds, and we break down Lopez and Lomachenko. That's slated for October 17th. We'll close it out with Alex's famous and sometimes controversial Top 10 that's presented by the aforementioned Ringside Network. So with that being said, let's get it underway. Our opening bell. Well, if you haven't seen boxing in a while, let alone sports, you know why. It's the COVID-19. We all had to deal with it. The pandemic halted all sports in the U.S. in March. From March until June, boxing took an 8 count, but refused to be counted out. The boxing gods immediately went back to the drawing board to come up with some concrete solutions to a real problem. In walks Top Rank. They submit a 20-page proposal to the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The plan included all types of safety measures to protect the fighters and their trainers, which is a smart idea. The infamous bubble at the MGM Grand Center was created where all the fighters can be quarantined to make sure they were COVID-19 free before stepping back into the ring and giving the fans what we crave, some action. But no fans were allowed in the arena. We had to watch on TV. No press allowed. They had to do their due diligence and really watch and research and write up on these fights. And if you go back to June 9th, the first fight in the bubble was Newark's Shakur Stevenson, who scored a scintillating, dominating 6-round knockout over Felix Caraballo. One of the boxers, we don't know who, told the Ringside Network that fighting in the bubble was almost like sparring, and it was something that a fighter would have to get used to. looks like we're going to have to get used to this controlled environment, as well as the fighters and the fans, at least until the end of the year. All right, so one round is in the books. Keep it locked in here to Boxing Around the Globe right here on the Ringside Network. We're going to step aside. When we come back, our boxing expert, the knowledgeable Charisma McElwain, will give us a little insight on Fury and Wilder. Are we going to get them for the third time? We're going to talk a little female boxing with her as well. And as always, get social with us on Twitter at RSN_TV, hashtag Boxing Around the Globe. Because when we talk to Alex a little later on in the program, you are definitely want to go and have a little fun with him on social media when he presents his top 10 as we close out another edition of Boxing Around the Globe. Lace him up. We'll step aside. We'll come back right after this. Welcome back, boxing fans, to this edition of Boxing Around the Globe, exclusively on the Ringside Network. And, of course, your ringside seat. I'm your host, Rich Quinones. Thanks for taking a ride with us through the opening round. My goodness, you know, the show always has this phonetical fast pace, and that's okay. That's the way we like it, just like heavyweights. And to talk a little bit about some heavyweights, Wilder Fury, are we going to get that third bout? We have to bring in our boxing expert, Charisma McElwain. And Charisma, I'll tell you, you talk about Wilder and you talk about Fury. This is a fight I know you want to see. Charisma, I know I want to see this. What's the latest on this one?
Well, you want to see it. I want to see it. The fans have been waiting for it. You might have to wait a little bit longer, though. The rematch that every fan has been anticipating, Fury versus Wilder 3, was planned initially for July 18th. And because of COVID, it was postponed until October 3rd. Now fans and we have to wait yet again because now the rematch is planned for December 19th. The anticipated venue is the new Raiders home, the Allegiant Stadium, and that stadium holds 65,000 people. So packing in 15 to 20,000 people should handle the social just
Liston looked at his opponents, and in his eyes, they saw the glare of an executioner. Many of Liston's rivals recalled that his facial expression never changed through the entire fight, and some of them said it was kind of a mask that he wore. While Sonny was the world champion, one very bright, promising, and confident fighter appeared in the world. His name was Cassius Clay, later known as Muhammad Ali. It was he who, at the beginning of 1964, was the main contender for the world crown.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cassius Marcellus Clay. He's young, he's handsome, they know it. He's a poet, a prophet, and many people believe he'll be the next heavyweight champion of the world. What about Cassius?
Well, I would imagine if he would come to me, I'd kill him. And if he run, I'm going to catch him and kill him.
You tell him to your camera, your TV man, your radio man, and you right by the whole world. If Sonny Liston whoops me, I'll kiss his feet in the rain.
Despite the love for Ali from the journalists and fans, his chances of winning were only 1.25 to 7.
This is the fight that everyone has been clamoring for, and as of this minute, it is now official.
Because I'm the greatest. That's why it's the biggest in all history, because I'm here.
I predict that tonight somebody will die at ringside from shock.
The opinion of most of the observers was that these hysterics that Clay was going through were fear. But of course they weren't. He was psyching the old bear out.
February 1964. Miami. The sports arena saw several celebrities, sports stars, 9,000 fans, and millions of television viewers. Most fans predicted an easy victory for Liston in the early rounds. But everybody's prediction was wrong, as the champion was confronted with a young opponent that was moving at the speed of a lightweight.
Left lead that might keep the champion a bit off balance.
Heavyweights don't fight like this, commentators said in disbelief as they witnessed a young Cassius Clay moving madly about the ring, preventing Liston from landing any blows.
Do it too successfully because the challenger is jabbing all over body, head, and right hand. The best punch of the fight so far.
At the end of the fourth round, a strange situation happened. Something got into Cassius Clay's eyes, almost blinding him and stopping the fight. But his trainer calmed the boxer and tried to wash his eyes, telling him to avoid Liston for round 5. After the fight, it was claimed that the reason was an ointment that was smeared on Liston's gloves.
The next shocking thing that happened was when Clay was having difficulty in his corner between the 4th and 5th rounds, something in his eyes. Nobody knew exactly what it was.
He told Angelo Dundee, his trainer, he said he was blind, he couldn't see. He wanted to quit. Dundee sent him back out there. He said, if you can't fight, run.
Angelo just told him, he said, just stay away from him until he'll go away.
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't know exactly what happened. They're yelling from Cassius Clay's corner. Something got in his right eye. However, he's blinking badly.
After defending for 5 rounds, in the 6th round, Cassius Clay's sight was restored, and he continued his unorthodox style, leading the fight.
They might be stopping it. That might be all, ladies and gentlemen. Get up there.
In the break between the 6th and 7th rounds, Sonny Liston refused to continue the fight, giving the victory to Clay.
Great, I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Sonny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with me, can't nobody be against me. Sonny, I shook up the world. I know God. I know the real God.
Cassius, wait a minute.
I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
Wait a minute, Cash, wait a minute.
You must listen to me.
Now listen to me.
I am the double.
All right, hold it. Ladies and gentlemen.
You expect to get a rematch? Well, if Clay want to give me a rematch, I'll take it. And if he don't, imagine I'll forget it.
The rematch took place on May 25, 1965, and this controversial fight raised even more questions than their first match. It ended halfway through the first round, and there was much confusion as to the actual events and whether or not Sonny was knocked out. Claims of the fight being fixed led the knockout blow to be called a phantom punch by journalists.
There was a punch, and a hard punch that landed in a vulnerable place. There is footage that shows Liston's neck being snapped back by that punch.
The thing that bothered me is Liston could take a hell of a punch. I'd seen him fight guys that were devastating punches. I've seen him fight those guys. I've seen those guys knock the daylights out of him for a while, but he would always come on to knock him out.
What did you think of the fight last night?
I think it was a fake fight, very fake.
Well, what did you think of it? I thought it was a phony.
Let me tell you, the minute he hit the floor, I heard they said fix, and you could hear the ringside. You hear the people hollering fix? Yeah, I heard it. I heard them say fix, as soon as he fell. I said, get up, come on. I mean fix. I don't know nothing about no fix.
After the second defeat to Ali, Liston again began to live his life, no longer needing to act the part of a world champion. He never fought for the world title again, though he did continue to box at a lower level. He dealt with average boxers without much trouble until, in December 1969, he ran into Leotis Martin, who was not afraid of Liston's terrible gaze and managed to knock out the former world champion.
Alex Hamer from Ringside Network. I'm in Newark, New Jersey prior to the Shakur Stevenson fight, and I have his manager and advisor, Jay Prince. Jay, how are you?
Well, I'm good. Glad to be in Newark, man.
Jay, was it kind of frustrating getting an opponent for Shakur? I know they changed it a couple different times. How did that affect the young man?
Yeah, I mean, that's wasn't a comfortable moment, but that's boxing, and we just made the adjustments. There are going to be many called, fewer chosen. So the chosen ones that want this experience, we're going to give it to them.
Jay, I wanted to ask you about your book. One of the most interesting chapters were, I think it was chapter 3, when you said there were leaders, followers, and loners. Where did you first come to that realization, Jay?
I came to that realization in elementary school without really knowing the real substance of what I was seeing.
So it was retrospective then. You found out later what was the deal.
Yeah, it was like the seeds was planted and fruition came on later in life. I'm like, oh, so this is the meaning of these quality of individuals.
Great. How have the sales been on the book, Jay?
Oh, great. The sales has been great, been so great until I'm actually supposed to be closing a deal next week with one of the biggest publishers in New York. They want to pick the same book up and also give me a platform to release 3 to 4 other books a year.
We saw you on Trevor Noah. Was that one of the highlights since you wrote the book? That I know like 10 million people saw you that night.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with Travis, man. He's a funny guy, and it definitely reached a lot of people and contributed to the success of the book.
So, Jay, my final question is, what do you expect Saturday night boxing-wise? Do you expect this thing to go to distance, a knockout? What do you expect?
Well, I expect Shakur to put on a clinic. Whether it be long or short. He's the type of fighter that embraces opportunity as it's given to him. So if he had that opportunity for that knockout, it will come. I know he wants that. And but most of all, he gonna punish him if he don't knock him out.
Jay, you got a lot of friends at Ringside Network in Philadelphia that have the utmost respect for you. What else are you doing as far as the other fighters that you have up on the stage?
Well, I also have Joshua Greer, Night, the pillar man that put everybody to sleep, and then also Julian Rodriguez.
Right.
And also on Saturday, I have a fighter by the name of Brian Jennings, who is fighting in London. Right. And I also have a fighter in Paris, Tony Yoka. So I wish I could be in a bunch of places at the same time, but that's impossible. But this is number one, obviously. Yeah, I mean, this is something I had committed to before setting the other fights up, so it's only right to be here. Jay, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with you. Alex Hamer at Ringside Network, Newark, New Jersey. Thank you.
Liston fought his last match on June 29, 1970, against the famous boxer Chuck Wepner, and defeated him. For this fight, Liston received $13,000, but he did not get a cent of the money. A few weeks before the fight, Sonny asked his friend Lem Banker to bet $10,000 in his name that the heavyweight Mac Foster would beat Jerry Quarry. However, in round 6, Quarry knocked out Foster. Sonny asked Banker for a postponement. After defeating Wepner, he first gave $10,000 to Banker, and the remaining $3,000 went to pay his seconds, coaches, sparring partners, and other people from his team. Sonny was left with nothing. On January 5, 1971, Sonny Liston's wife, Geraldine, returned home from a trip and discovered her husband's body. Geraldine found Sonny at 8:30 p.m. and notified the police and close relatives. The police arrived 3 hours later and found that Liston had died approximately 6 days previous.
I called my attorney and told him that Sonny was dead. He said, "How you know he's dead?" I said, "Well, he's laying, I can see he's swelled up, So he said, "Well, lock up and don't say anything."
I think Geraldine is under the impression that a phone call was made to the authorities shortly thereafter, like 15 minutes.
He said, "Call your doctor and call the police," and that's what it did. It was like 15, 20 minutes.
But in fact, a large amount of time passed, something closer to 2 or 3 hours, before the authorities were called.
It's a mystery to me, too. I don't know. I'm telling you, the police were right there in about 5 to 10 minutes.
Sonny Liston, the former heavyweight boxing champion, was found dead last night in his Las Vegas home by his wife. He was 38. He had been dead for at least a week. An autopsy failed to show the cause of death, and further studies will be made. Police said that they found small quantities of what appeared to be heroin and marijuana in the home.
Officially stated that the cause of death was an overdose of heroin. However, many of his friends claimed that Liston was afraid of needles and even canceled flights to Europe in order not to get vaccinated.
Where was the surgical tubing that he would have probably used to wrap around his arm to expose a vein? Where was the spoon used for cooking? Had it been moved? None of this stuff was present.
Scars on the arms of Sonny Liston, which at that time appears they were interpreted as needle marks.
People say, well, he couldn't have done drugs. He was afraid of needles. Other people say, oh no, he was a drug addict.
Few people from his circle believed that Liston could take drugs. No one knows exactly when Liston was born, and no one knows exactly how he died. He was a mystery to others, and even to himself. But he managed to leave a bright mark in the history of boxing as a fighter whom opponents were afraid to fight.
Chris, we all know that your height may be an advantage. How do you intend to use your height as an advantage?
By just, controlling the space in the ring. Manny's extremely fast, but he's got to cover a great amount of distance to get to me. So maintaining that range, sticking him with hard jabs throughout the fight, high, low, double, tripling up the jab, and really just keeping a measured measured, hard jab on him is going to be really important. Sometimes it's hard to use a jab on a southpaw, but I've never had a problem with that.
We all know about your mixed martial arts background. What impact, if any, does that have on your boxing career, you think?
I was actually a kickboxing background, but I think it's definitely helped because of, one, the lifestyle of, living and training and staying in shape, staying fit, but also just being in tough fights. I had a lot of tough kickboxing fights.
Right.
I was in rough and tough fights, and kickboxing is a tough sport. Very, very tough sport. So I've been in tough fights before. I'm not afraid to dig deep. I know how to do it. I've been there before. Going back to the wells is no issue for me.
We all admire your confidence. Let's assume that you win that fight. What would your plans be after? I know that's thinking ahead a little bit, but let's assume that you win. What do you think your next option would be?
I really got to look at what the landscape of the sport is at that point. Boxing these days is like the wild, wild west. It changes constantly. So we got to see what's going on at that point. We still have some big fights left this year. You got the Maidana Mayweather fight next week. You got myself and Manny, at the end of the year. So we got to see where we go. The 140 pounds, 40s pound division is the best in the world, the best in boxing. So it's exciting.
Absolutely. Do you think this is your last fight at a catch weight of 144? You think you'll fight full-fledged 147 after this fight?
The 144, I wanted to fight 47 this fight. That was actually Manny's team. They wanted the catch weight. I said we were fighting for his welterweight title, so let's fight at the welterweight limit. But they wanted the 44 pound, so I don't ever foresee fighting a 44 again. I'm either going to go back down to 40 or be a full-fledged 47 pounder.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
C'est prévu pour 6 rounds dans la catégorie des poids légers. Ladies and gentlemen, the next bout of the evening is scheduled for 6 rounds in the lightweight division. The judges for this bout: Richard de Carufel, Jean Lapointe, and Jack Woodburn. L'arbitre, the referee, Steve Saint-Germain. Introducing first in the blue corner, she weighed in at an official 129 pounds, wearing silver with purple trunks. Her professional record, absolutely perfect. 3 wins. Coming in from Baytown, Texas, La Maestra Lucia Osegueda. Her opponent in the red corner, son adversaire dans le coin rouge, she weighed in at 131 pounds, wearing black, trimmed with red. Her professional record reads as follows: 3 wins in 4 outings as a professional, with 1 win coming by way of knockout. From Edgewood, New Mexico, introducing Brenda Boom Boom Gonzalez. L'arbitre, the referee, Steve Saint-Germain.
Boxer, both received my instruction in the locker room. I want a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Listen to my command at all times. Touch left. Good luck, both of you.
All right, so this one is going to be Gonzalez and Osegueda, and this is going to be 6 rounds lightweights. Lonnie in the purple trunks, Brenda in the black trunks. Steve St. Germain, referee in charge of the action inside the ring. This one on paper also looks to be a very good fight. Gonzalez 3-1 with 1 knockout. Osegueda 3-0, 28 years of age, first time fighting in Canada. Brenda goes by the nickname Boom Boom. She's 32 years of age, defeated Stephanie Mitra's first round TKO, her only pro fight, and Bridget Ruiz, that was her second pro fight. So she got a couple fighters that were debuting, both, as I alluded to, making their pro debut. She got a couple good wins. Took a good fight against 10-fight vet Amanda Crespin, suffered a 4-round unanimous decision loss. That was the only fight in 2013. No activity in 2012. Recently beat DJ Morrison in May. Morrison came in with a lopsided record, 3-21. But again, she's 3-1. On paper, good matchup against a 3-0 opponent. This is slated for 6 rounds lightweights as we are set to go. We continue with some great action here at the Crown Plaza Hotel. I don't know if this is going to top Santiago and Thomas thus far for Fight of the Night, but you can certainly expect to see some potential fireworks between these two. Gonzalez sticking that jab to start things off. Good counter by Osegueda. Both of these two very skilled and sound fighters. see right off the bat, they're sticking with that jab. Not afraid to go inside, doing a little damage. I think after the last fight, crowds kind of come down a little bit here at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada, in conjunction with Nordic Coliseum Women's Boxing. Good right counter by Acegueda. Lonnie, nickname La Maestra, from Eastside Boxing. And her quote is this: "I see blood, I attack." If she was in the last fight, oh my goodness, that would have been something. She is the third-ranked featherweight, super featherweight in the U.S., 23rd in the world. Fought once in 2012, 2013, 2014, beat Botrevia Priest in May. Those were all 4-rounders. And again, the blood in the water comes from the fact that she loves sharks, and she always wanted to be a boxer. To her, it was stress relief. She's a special ed teacher, and she just loves her kids. She fights for the kids as well. Got a little bit of a welt over her left eye, courtesy of those jabs by Gonzalez. Late stages, round number 1. So early on, Gonzalez pressing the action. Good counter right, too. So one in the books between Gonzalez and Acegueda. Gonzalez in the black trunks, Acegueda in the purple trunks. She has a welt right above her left eye. Gonzalez peppering her with jabs. Early stage round number 2. Good counter by Lonnie. That scores. She tries to go downstairs. I spoke to her earlier this evening. She says she was just excited and pumped to go, and it was honored to fight in Canada and on this card. And again, the idea for this card this evening was to have so many girls with different disciplines in various sports, combat sports, Muay Thai, MMA, kickboxing, a chance to shine to see if they want to take boxing full time or if they want to be balanced with their disciplines. And we've seen great action this evening. All the girls have come in. They've had great attitude, personalities. The last couple of days, got to spend a lot of time with them. Very accessible, did interviews. You saw them around the hotel talking to a lot of people, and they're just real honored and humbled to be here, as I am as well, calling it ringside. Gonzalez with a right, comes back with a soft left. Lonnie with a good counter, left and a right of her own. Gonzalez shakes her head. Yeah, you got me on that one. Snaps that left again. Don't forget, follow Nordic Coliseum Women's Boxing on Twitter. You can also follow me, Rich Q on Q, for the updates. As we're calling the action and we're tweeting ringside this evening. Good right by Lonnie. Good straight right that scores. Best punch thus far of the evening. Another counter right. Gonzalez comes back with a counter of her own. Late stages, round number 2. Final 10. Good exchange by these two. These two love to throw their hands. They're letting their hands go. Action-packed fight. 2 in the books. Special thanks this evening to Dennis Blanchette, Maximum Rouleau, and Kevin Sauveillard. 2 in the books between Gonzalez, who's 3-1, 1 knockout from New Mexico, as we alluded to, defeated Stephanie Maestras per round TKO, and Bridget Ruiz. Both fighters were making their pro debut respectively. We take a look at Brenda Gonzalez, nicknamed Boom Boom, like one of the great boxers that we saw in the 80s, Ray Boom Boom Mancini out of Ohio. So we get set for the start of round number 3. We mentioned Amanda Lovato working her friend's corner this evening after she got in the ring earlier this evening. Tough fight that she lost to a taller fighter in Ashley Nichols. Both of those two had great pedigree when it comes to the combat sports, MMA and kickboxing as well, like the majority of them doing right now. These two boxers were all talent, letting their hands go. Acegueda in the purple, Gonzalez in the black. Not afraid to throw their hands. I love to see Lonnie try to drive through that bad area a little more, step around with that jab and sneak in. If you know you're gonna get hit a lot with that jab, step to the side a little bit. Don't box inside. Try to box to the outside. Work that hook. See if she does it in round number 3. Midway through this fight, there she goes right there. Step aside with that right. Gonzalez comes back, soft left, keeping that jab out there. Tries to sneak downstairs. Good. Comes back with a counter left upstairs. It's one of these fights where it's just two fighters that are technically sound. Might be the fighter who makes the first mistake. Tightly contested, 2 rounds. Good right by Lonnie, that scores. Ooh, Gonzalez comes back with another right. Mercy comes back with that left, sticks that jab out there. Another left. These two have good chins. Another exchange again by Gonzalez. Moving around very well. Quiet round. See who's going to break. Who's going to let the other see their tell. This is a tough one to score because, again, are you looking for a good left by Gonzalez? Activity, quality of punches, ring generalship, tough round. This is one of those fights where you just appreciate two very good fighters. It's an event to showcase female boxing. If you're an advocate of female boxing like I am, you look at some of the great fighters throughout the history, the Maureen Shays, the $1 Million Babies, the Mia St. John, Celia Brækhus, Layla Ali. The list just goes on and on and on because they're pioneers of the sport. Tori Nelson, who defended her WIBA title twice, defeated Mia St. John several months ago. You look at some of the upstarts. You look at Naomi Boskis, Heather Hardy. You look at some of those great amateurs trying to get gold. Christina Cruz, who's won so many Golden Gloves in the U.S. And you look at some of these great Canadian fighters, and we're going to look at one of them later on this evening in a main event, Olivia Garullo. Opportunity for these girls to shine. And they deserve it, and they need it, and they've worked for it, and they've earned it. See how this round plays out between Acegueda and Gonzalez. Gonzalez in the black, Acegueda in the purple. Trying to stick that jab. Doubled up on that jab, and then came back with that counter right. Gonzalez counters of her own, goes downstairs. Love the venue this evening, too. Intimate, cozy, you're right up on top of the action. Lonnie attempted to come back with that right. Waiting for her to step around a little bit. Good counter right. Another right by Lonnie that scores. Pushes Gonzalez back. Gonzalez shakes her head. Yep. Let's go. Gonzalez tried to sneak one down. A little soft jab. That jab is there just to keep your opponent honest. It's a good defense. That jab, best defense, turns into your best offense. Everything starts with the jab. Good round for Gonzalez. And Acegueda connecting. She might be taking punches. She's delivering. Good straight right. Pushes Gonzalez back. Good right again by Acegueda. Good round. Excellent round between these two. Now the action, it might not be picking up, so to speak, but they're technically sound. Two very good fighters in the ring right now. 4 in the books. We'll step aside. More boxing to come right after this. to the Crown Plaza Hotel and got to know Quebec, Canada, in conjunction with Nordic Coliseum Boxing. They present the first all-female pro card in North American history, NCWB1 Championship Boxing at its best. Rich Quinones ringside. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you are enjoying a historic night for female boxing. Really, boxing going forward. Doesn't matter if it's Canada, in the U.S., in Europe, the Latin Americas, does not matter. These girls have come to play. It's been ladies' night. The boys, you stay home as we get set for round number 5 between Gonzalez and Acegueda. Slated for 6. Gonzalez in the black trunks. Back and forth affair. Lani Acegueda in the purple. Good right by Lani, pushes back Gonzalez. This is this is a tough fight to score. Gonzalez tried to sneak one downstairs with that left. Gonzalez again snapping that jab with purpose. Lani has that welt under her eye, that left eye. Closing up a little bit. She just ate a couple punches, then she ate a counter left by Gonzalez. She's taking a lot of punishment, taking a lot of punches, but she is showing a lot of guts and heart. It's the theme of the night. Every fighter has come to fight. No fighter has rolled over, and we didn't expect that. Every fighter came to fight, and they put on a show, and this is a technically, right now, I think, a wonderful fight by two very skilled fighters. Oh, and a good right by Lani. Counter right that scores. Pushes Gonzalez back now. Doing some damage. Tries to sneak downstairs. But the fight of the night thus far, Thomas and Santiago. Ooh, good exchange by both. Oh, another right by Lani. Stuns Gonzalez. Has her pushed up against the ropes momentarily. Snaps that left again. Chess match right now. Final 10. Good right again by Acegueda. Gonzalez comes back. Counters of her own. Leather in the hands go. Good exchange by both fighters. Good round. Got to give that round to Acegueda. Very good round. 5 in the books. Slated for 6. And I want to come back and get the official scoring as the night progresses. In case you missed that fight, we'll tell you what happened right now. 6th and final round between Lani Acegueda and Brenda Gonzalez. Spirited contest, highly and tightly contested. See how it plays out in round number 6. Gonzalez starting to let her hands go in the black. Lani in the purple. Another right by Lani that scores Gonzalez again with that counter right of her own. Good exchange by both fighters. Action heating up. 6th and final round. Crowd starting to get into it here at the Crown Plaza. Gonzalez loves it. Just stick that left jab. Best defense. Your jab turns into your best offense. After her counter, she goes back to the jab, which is a mark of a good fighter. After you counter combination, always go back to that jab. And see, Lani just did it. Again, mark of a good fighter. Both these girls very skilled. Left and a right, then go right back to the jab. Good right again by Lani. Brenda, a very good counter puncher. That might be the difference in this one. Another one that looks like it's going to go to the scorecards. Closing in on 6th and final round. Good exchange. Acegueda had her pushed back momentarily. Good left by Gonzalez. Left hook that scores. Another left. Good jab. She's stuck it in there. Another left. Gonzalez using the jab wisely, stepping around and using that reach. Older fighter too. She's given away 4 years. She's 32. Good fight. This one's going to go to scorecards between Gonzalez and Acegueda.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, after 6 hard-fought rounds, we go to the scorecards, and they read as follows. Le juge de Carufel has it 57-57, a draw. Juge Lapointe and Judge Woodburn both have it 59-55 for your winner, Brenda Boom Boom Gonzalez.
This is Alex Hamer from Ringside Network. I'm with Lee Samuels from Top Rank, the publicity manager. He was just inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and I wanted to congratulate Lee on such a wonderful job. He's known as one of the gentlemen in boxing. Lee, how do you feel about having been inducted?
Well, it's incredible, and it's very rare for a publicist to receive an award. In the Hall of Fame, for Top Rank, we have the most in is my boss, Bob Arum, our matchmakers, Teddy Brenner and Bruce Trampler, my boss and the greatest publicist ever, Irving Rudd, who worked with Ali, and myself. So there's 2 other publicists in the Hall of Fame, Irving Rudd and also one from Don King's office. So that's great. Murray Goodman, from King. So to be the 3rd one is it's unexpected, and I got nominated, and Bruce Trampler from Top Rank called me and said, "You've been nominated." I was cool with it. Right. Lee Samuels nominated, I'm good. But
the nomination was it's like an Academy Award nomination. The nomination in and of itself is really revealing.
Yeah. So when I got the call from Ed Bruffy that you've been inducted, I immediately said, I'm taking my wife with me. And my grandkids came. They're 6 and 8, right. Ryan and Leah, and of course my brothers and sisters. And then also I grew up in a little town called Pennsville, New Jersey, and I came from a very poor family. It goes to show you that in this country, in America, it doesn't matter what you have as a child. People will help you to get to where you don't expect to be. So I was very fortunate. I had a lot of people help me in the newspaper business. I started with a weekly paper. I actually read newspapers, but I never wrote. But I told the local paper I was a writer, right? And and he went for it. So and I worked for a number of weekly papers and some daily papers. And I had the privilege of I worked at the Philadelphia Bulletin, and I covered 2 Muhammad Ali fights. Right. And I'm going to tell you a story about Irving Rudd, the publicist for Top Rank.
Yeah, tell us about Irving. Yeah.
Okay, so I called Irving. I said, I've been assigned to cover Ali versus Spinks in Vegas. I was really nervous. I was a young reporter, pretty nervous about it. And he goes, he knows you're coming, and he wants to talk to you. I said, okay. I said, I need to talk to Angela Dundee. He said, he'll be sitting next to him when you come in to the Hilton. Okay.
To Angelo.
Yes. So I landed in Vegas, and I called Irving. He said, Muhammad knows you're here. He has special things to say to you. Okay. So this is a PR ploy I use on other reporters, by the way.
I see.
So I went to the room, and there was Ali and Angela by themselves. Hey, welcome. So, like, let's say you want to talk to Jesse Hart, right? For example, I would say, like, I was just talking to Jesse about you. He wants to talk to you. You know, but it gets the writer pretty calmed down, and the writers, and give them all the time they want. And the best writers, I find, even if I didn't know the writer, I'll give you an example. I was at a press conference last year with another promoter, and they were saying to the reporters, 2 questions, so you got people lined up. I said, I'm going to, Victor, he likes to talk.
Right.
We have no limit. We get all day long. And you'll find that I discovered that even if I didn't know the writer, an example of this is a writer named Michael Baca from L.A., who I didn't know. He asked the most incredible, intriguing questions I had ever heard. And just writers have different kinds of interviewing techniques. Like, for example, Jerry Eisenberg, New York Star Ledger.
I know Jerry. Yeah.
Kevin Aioli. What they do, they sort of wind their way in slowly. First, like Miguel Cotto's a tough interview, for example. But they wind their way through to get the person calm and get where they want to go. And I'm watching this, knowing what's going to happen, because I've seen it before.
Right.
And so there's different kind of interviewing techniques. I like to have the writers do their fighters one-on-one. If we were doing a big pay-per-view show for Top Rank, I would call the fighter in advance and carve out, I need 2 hours a day. That's all. I don't care, it's 6 in the morning, 10 at night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that way I could, get our interviews done to drive pay-per-views. And I've been very fortunate and been very lucky from my beginnings as a young boy in we had no money, nothing, zero. We had the back garden, but I did like to read. I read a lot.
Well, Lee, when you were inducted into the Hall, you went in with Teddy Atlas.
Yeah.
And
Marvin Hagler.
Yeah. Tell us about going in with Teddy and Don Elbaum. Those two real characters in the business.
I worked for a paper called the Philadelphia Bulletin, which closed in 1983.
Right.
So I got hired. A local promoter named Frank Gelb called me because Bob Arum wants to talk to you. And so I met Bob at a casino in Vegas. I think it was the Sands. Kenny Bogner, Bang Bang Bogner, was the main event that night. And his fight was sold out. He had sellout crowds for 2 or 3 years in Atlantic City. And he says, and I joined he was forming a crew to travel with a Thursday night ESPN show. The crew included the debut of Michael Buffer, his first time as an announcer.
I remember that.
Yeah, Al Bernstein, of course, with ESPN at that time, and then the matchmakers Teddy Brenner and Bruce Trampler, and I loved it. I loved working with the writers. My first writers were Jack Opelmeyer and Jowett boy Jeff Jowett, and Dave Bontempo was writing at the time for Atlantic City Press, which brings me to Don Elbaum. So we were doing Thursday night fights, and he was doing Tuesday night fights at the Tropicana, and he had a publicist named Jim Taylor, outstanding, and so we had a friendly rivalry. I'm actually friends with anybody. I was at a credential meeting one time, and they said, "Is anybody?" A massive fight. They said, "Is anybody you don't care for?" I said, "No, I can't think of anyone." They said, so, well, we have a lot we don't like. That's cool. That's your, that's cool.
Right.
I didn't want to get into it. But I've been with the greatest fighters. You'll find that the greatest fighters in the world are primarily family men with families and kids and stuff, and not what they appear to be inside the ring. That goes for the very, very top fighters like Mayweather, Pacquiao.
Right.
Actually, there's a different side of them
that you never see. Yeah,
the fans don't see. But when you work with them, they're very easy to work with. And I never really had a difficult fighter. It just had a pretty good time, actually.
Right.
I'm very fortunate to be in the spot I'm in.
Right.
I'm a coordinator now for Top Rank.
Right.
Our publicists now are Evan Korn and Gardy Lopez.
Exactly.
Two younger guys.
Exactly. well, Lee, congratulations in your induction to the Hall of Fame. And Ringside Network in Philadelphia, we're looking forward to working with you.
Oh, I want to tell you something. I worked at the Bulletin, as you know,
Right.
and the boxing writer at that time was Bob Wright.
Okay.
And I was his backup guy. Make it very clear, I was never the
Right. I remember. Yeah.
So
thank you very much for speaking with us. This is Alex Hamer. We're in Newark, New Jersey for the Shakur Stevenson fight this weekend. Thank you very much, Lee.
Thank you.
All right. Alex Hamer from Ringside Network in we're in Newark, New Jersey, at the Shakur Stevens press conference, and Josh is the co-main event on Saturday night. Josh, tell us about how you intend to handle your opponent on Saturday, the Russian.
How I intend to handle the Russian, I guess after this fight, you would call me the Black Rocky the way I'm going to do this Russian.
Josh, Do you know anything about your opponent, the Russian?
Yeah, I know a lot about him. He very basic guy. He got a stance, 2 feet, 2 hands, a head, a chin. And that's about it right there.
Do you expect this fight, Josh, to go to distance, or does it matter to you if it's a knockout or if it goes the distance?
Most importantly, I come to win, but at the end of the day, I work tremendously hard, and I had some of the best sparring partners that's way better than him, and I did good. So I know for a fact that this guy is not gonna be able to handle what I bring to the table come Saturday night.
You mentioned on stage that you were satisfied with the treatment that you received in Newark, and they made you feel at home, and you like to do the same if they ever come to Chicago. Tell us how they made you feel at home here in Newark.
I mean, from the I think it's called Boylan's Recreation Center. When we were there, like the kids, like they wanted. I already signed their paper. And after I signed their paper, they wanted me to sign their hand, their arms, and they just, they embraced me very well, and it meant a lot to me that they was looking at me that way. And they was honoring me in that type of way. And all Shakur family, hey Josh, let me get a picture with you. I mean, it mean a lot to me. So like I said, when he come to Chicago, if he ever come to Chicago, he gonna be treated the same way.
Josh, before I let you go, tell me what you expect after you win on Saturday. What do you see on the horizon as far as your career is concerned?
What I see on the horizon is a lot of more money, a lot of more TV time, a main event, and for me to be world champion real soon.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Hamer from Ringside Network. Here was Josh, who's contending for a world title eliminator on Saturday at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
I guess you could say guys like Gary Russell, maybe Kid Gallivan, but to me, Frausto has punching power. I think Frausto is poised to win this fight.
High tight striking guard from Armando Frausto coming forward. Frausto told me heavy aggression, especially from the start of this fight. Delgado told me he wants to really feel his way into this bout, gauge the strategy of Frausto, make his adjustments.
So I saw that Frausto was holding his hand in the quarter. It tells me he wants to twist his punches. When you twist your punches, you cut your opponent.
Uppercut to the body from Frausto.
Nice.
Uppercut, then the left hand. Clever combination from Delgado. That backs off Frausto. Reset center of the ring.
See, Delgado's lead leg is the leg that you talked about. Frausto needs to just back off a little bit so he can get his full range and find his power.
Delgado throwing with his back against the ropes. Hooking to the body.
Nice
clever turn from Delgado.
Your head is coming forward before your gloves. You can't do that.
Frausto is called a soft warning from referee Jane 80, leading with his head.
Nice step and hook.
Soft warning is just an admonition. Hard warning means next time I'm taking a point. That was a soft warning. To the inside goes Armando Frausto. Big flurry and back to the outside.
And Delgado is seemingly coming from the southpaw stance here, but occasionally he squares up.
Very disciplined striking guard, as you see coming forward. Rear uppercut misses from Delgado.
Frausto's going to try to figure out the reach, and once he does, then we'll see the power. A lot of these swooping shots are errant and they're missing, and Delgado is making Frausto pay.
Final minute, round number 1. Frausto pushing forward. Very much looking to settle in, and that's his best sequence of this fight thus far here in the opening round.
Yeah, Delgado is proving to be the better counter puncher.
Good turn from Jose Maria Delgado. On the push-off, right back to the inside from Delgado. That was clever. Left hand on the exit. Left hook from Frausto. Right back to the inside. Rear uppercut. Matched with the lead uppercut from Delgado.
And Delgado's defense has been so good that Frausto really hasn't been able to land too many power shots.
Closing stages of very entertaining round number 1. Armando Frausto versus Jose Maria Delgado for the WBO. Second warning from Jane 80, leading with the head to Frausto. Out to the body goes Delgado.
Hard shot there, and now the power may be on display.
Level change from Frausto to the body. Delgado punching with his back against the ropes, now caught in the corner.
You know, in wrestling, we talk about changing levels all the time. It certainly applies in boxing and MMA as well. You change the look that you give your opponent.
On the right hand from Delgado, still is back against ropes. Good sweeping hook to the body by Delgado. Frosto to the inside, a hook of his own to the body. Good left hand. Big combination now from Armando Frosto. Counter left uppercut.
Oh, that straight left there may have caught Frausto. You'll see that Delgado will let Frausto get off first, but he keeps his elbows in tight. Delgado is counter-punching his way to victory. If he can spin out here, he can continue to do so. Fighting from out of the corner is Delgado.
Go back to what Delgado told us in our fighter meeting. Stay calm, hit my angles, feel my way into this fight.
Yeah, the angles are so important to the young fighters out there, the young wrestlers, the young MMA folks out there. Coming from angles is the way to do it. You come straight on, you're going to lose.
Frosto coming forward, heavy pressure, clever turn by Delgado. Uppercut, the right hook from the rear from Armando Frosto. Both fighters throwing big, throwing accurately here in round two. And Delgado taking his own back against the ropes, against the corner cushion. Big floor from Frosto, the left, the right gets through. The duck under, cleverly done from Delgado, eats that rear right uppercut, answers with an uppercut, double jab.
Delgado showing some really good movement here. You know, not running, so to speak, but fighting defensively.
Uppercut again on the inside from Frosto. Hook misses. Delgado, a smile on his face as he circles out, but again puts his back right against the ropes.
Delgado seems to really like that left uppercut.
Delgado sitting back, walking against the ropes, the corner cushions, continuing to try to be the counterpuncher.
He's very comfortable there. You'll notice Delgado slipping away at will. I'm expecting to see a hook coming off of one of these slips rather soon.
Right to the body, counter left to the body from Delgado. Frosto, again, there's that level change. The body work, the uppercut. Literally every time Frosto throws the uppercut, Delgado answers with an uppercut of his own.
Yeah, it's counterpunching. It's counterpunching, and it's so expert by Delgado. He's comfortable with his back against the ropes, and the judges aren't fooled by this. They see what's going on.
Final seconds, round number 2. We thought this would be a quality fight. It's high quality indeed.
China again
Well,
in Macau?
I believe that Chris is going to be an underdog in the fight. I believe a lot of people think he can win the fight. He wins that fight, then the rematch is a mega fight in Nevada or in New York at the Barclays Center.
Absolutely.
And that's how I think it'll play out. I don't think it'll go back to China.
Absolutely.
I think it'll be prime time in the United States, either MGM or at the Barclays Center in New York.
Fantastic. Artie Palulo.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We appreciate it.
You're watching the Ringside Network.
Like a rabbit just written out of a hole. Oh, no, he's ready. Oh, goodness, Tyrone Davis. Yes, oh, mercy.
Don't know if he's getting up.
Harrison with a left and then another left. Going for a right. Soto goes down. A vicious right, and that might be the night. Oh, he's going to have a hard time getting up. That's it. It's over. Oh, it's over.
Dirty Men Boxing.
Fighting